I thought I knew my husband. I really did. After 5 years of marriage, you think you know someone inside and out, right? He was my rock. Kind, funny, dependable. The man who always came home on time. The one who made me feel like the safest person in the world. I trusted him with my life, with my dreams, with everything. Our life together was simple, quiet. We didn't have kids yet, but we were trying, planning our future. The only catch was his job. He worked in another city during the week, which meant he was only home on the weekends. I missed him like crazy every Monday morning, but I never questioned it. I believed he was out there, working hard for us, for the family we were trying to build. And I was so wrong. It all fell apart on a Tuesday. A completely ordinary, boring Tuesday. I was doing my usual routine, cleaning the house, waiting for the week to pass so he'd be home again. And then his second phone started ringing. Oh yeah, he had a second phone. He always said it was strictly for work, a line for clients so he could switch off when he was home with me. It made sense, so I never touched it, never even thought twice about it. But that day, it was just sitting there on the kitchen counter, ringing and ringing. I don't know what came over me. Curiosity, a weird gut feeling. I walked over and picked it up. The screen lit up with a name and a notification that made my blood run cold. It said, Maya, wife. And there it was, right next to her name, a bright red heart emoji. My heart just stopped. Wife. What did that mean? My mind was racing, trying to make sense of it. It had to be a mistake, a joke, anything but what it looked like. My fingers moved on their own. I swiped to answer the call. Before I could even say hello, a woman's voice chirped on the other end, warm and familiar, like she'd said these words 1,000 times. Hey babe, are you still coming to pick up the kids from school? Kids? Plural? The word echoed in my head, louder than the ringing that had just stopped. Kids. He had kids. With his wife? The air left my lungs. I couldn't form a single word. I just stood there, clutching the phone to my ear, listening to the silence on my end and the casual, domestic chatter on hers. She kept talking, completely oblivious, thinking I was him, asking about his day, reminding him to pick up milk on the way home. Every word was a dagger. I couldn't take it anymore. I hung up. My hands were shaking so violently I almost dropped the phone. My chest felt like it was being crushed by a huge weight. I leaned against the counter, trying to breathe, but the air wouldn't come. My whole world, the entire life I thought I had, was crumbling around me. I waited for him to come home that Friday. It was the longest 3 days of my life. I went through the motions, pretending everything was fine, but inside, I was a wreck. Part of me wanted to scream at him the second he walked through the door, to throw that second phone at his head and demand an explanation. But another, colder part of me knew I needed proof. I needed to see it with my own eyes. I couldn't just rely on a phone call. I had to be absolutely sure before I detonated our lives. So I did something I never, ever thought I would do. I decided to follow him. The thought made me feel sick, like I was betraying the man I loved. But the truth is, he had already betrayed me. I just didn't have all the pieces yet. On Saturday morning, he said he was just running out to the hardware store to pick up a few things for a project around the house. It was so normal, so routine. He kissed me goodbye, told me he'd be back in an hour. As soon as his car pulled out of the driveway, I was in my own car, heart pounding in my throat, keeping a safe distance behind him. He didn't go to the hardware store. He got on the highway and drove. And drove. For 40 minutes, we drove away from our town, away from our life, until he turned into a quiet suburban neighborhood, the kind with manicured lawns and kids' bikes on the sidewalk. He pulled into the driveway of a neat little blue house I had never seen before in my life. I parked down the street, my stomach in knots, and watched. He got out of his car, walked up to the front door, and knocked. The door swung open, and a little girl, maybe 6 or 7 years old, launched herself into his arms, screaming, "Daddy!" My vision started to blur. Daddy. She called him Daddy. Before I could even process that, a woman appeared in the doorway. It was Maya. I didn't know her, but I knew it was her. She smiled, leaned in, and kissed him. A real kiss. The kind a wife gives her husband when he comes home. She put her arm around his waist, and he put his arm around her. And together, with the little girl skipping between them, they walked into the house and closed the door. It felt like the ground just vanished from beneath my feet. Everything went silent. The sounds of the neighborhood, the birds, the passing cars, it all just faded away. I was floating in a vacuum of shock. All the air had been sucked out of my world, and all that was left was this hollow, echoing ache in my chest. I didn't cry. Not then. I think I was too numb, too broken to even form tears. I just sat there in my car, staring at the blue house. The house where my husband, the man I shared a bed with, the man I was trying to have a baby with, lived a whole other life. A life with another wife. A life with children. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was real. This was his other family. My entire marriage, the past 5 years, flashed before my eyes. Every late night at the office, every weekend trip he had to take, every single lie. It was all a carefully constructed facade to hide this. To hide them. I took a deep, shaky breath. The numbness started to fade, replaced by a cold, hard anger. I wasn't just a victim in this story. I wouldn't let myself be. I had to know everything. The whole ugly truth. And then, I was going to confront him. My quiet, simple life was over. Now it was time for his to fall apart too. To be continued.